Thank you, Mr. President. So our next speaker will be speaker number 1, Darlene Williams, and speaker number 10, Linda Capers from Paderewski, please. They will be followed by speaker number 2, Rhonda Coleman, and then speaker number 3, Nikhil Angelo. Ms. Williams?
Good morning, Board of Ed. First, I would like to thank Jesse Ruiz for visiting Paderewski on Monday, 4/22/2013. He asked if there were other things we could do to keep Paderewski open. He saw firsthand the beautiful campus we have. I would like to go back to the last board meeting that I attended and wasn't able to speak because I didn't sign up. I would like to address CEO Ms. Bennett. You talked about you were upset, you were called racist, and that you were a woman of color. Being a woman of color does not excuse the fact that you are being racist. I want you to look at the faces of the children and tell us, are they not colored? As I talked to you about, you did not care about being the fall guy. Well, you should care, because you are talking about schools from African American neighborhoods, low-income families, and single-family homes that were not integrated. Dollar signs are not defining education, but dollar signs do define you as a mother and a grandmother to destroy the children of Chicago. CPS talked about safe passage. Where has safe passage been up until now? Everything you propose, we have at Paderewski. The only thing we don't have is air conditioners. Paderewski should become a sister campus to another school that is overcrowded. We could offer some of the resources.
Ms. Williams, excuse me, can you please conclude?
Yes.
Thank you.
We could offer some of the resources that are needed by the students and parents from those schools. Those schools could expand into our building. Of course, I understand we are unutilized, but we have the resources that the board is offering these receiving schools, and I ask that you carefully look into that and consider us as staying open. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Our next speaker, please, speaker number 10, Linda Capers. Thank you. Next speaker then, speaker number 2, please, Rhonda Coleman, followed by speaker number 3, Nikhil Angelo. Last call for Rhonda Coleman. Moving on to speaker number 3, Nikhil Angelo, followed by speaker number 4, please, Myla Cohen, speaker number 5, Nareda Sanchez. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Nikhil Angelo, and I'm a parent organizer at Stand for Children. I used to teach high school science in the second poorest county in the United States, and my experiences in the classroom have shown me the importance of parent voice. I now have the privilege of working with public school parents across the city of Chicago. They come from magnet, charter, traditional, and neighborhood schools from over 25 different zip codes within the city. Last month, we announced the launch of our door-to-door canvas around school actions in order to bypass the noise and go directly to the impacted parents of school closures. In 3 weeks, we knocked on over 11,600 doors and spoke to over 1,000 families. We gave clear information about CPS's transition plan and open enrollment options. Block by block, we've heard the voices of parents, the vast majority of whom are not screaming in the streets. What they want is the best schools possible for their kids. I want to tell you a story about how our work around school closings helped a parent named Cindy Faok at Stewart Elementary, a school that is slated for closure. I sat down with her and pored over school report cards, the open enrollment applications, and connected her to resources like Access Living in order to address her specific needs. Yeah, this process was challenging for Cindy, but the clear, direct information was far more valuable to her and for her daughter's future. As a former teacher, I know education's messy. No one pedagogy or policy is a silver bullet to improve our schools. However, by working together from all school types, parents, teachers, and administrators, we can keep the eye on the prize, a great public school for every child. We may not agree on the nuts and bolts of the decisions coming out of CPS, but we are solutions-based and committed to not being a party of no, or perpetuating a rhetoric of our kids versus your kids
Mr.
that actually
Angelo?
divides.
Mr. Angelo, excuse me, can you please conclude?
Yep.
Thank you.
But we are solutions-based and committed to not being the party of no, or perpetuating a rhetoric of our kids versus your kids that actually divides communities. As many of you can personally attest, our parents are willing to work with you directly, respectfully, and with 100% laser focus on the academic quality and equitable access to great public schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Angelo. Our next speaker, please. Speaker number 4, Mila Cohen. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a daughter in special education at Courtney, and I strongly oppose the merger of Courtney and Stockton. The mayor says the time for negotiation is over. Now, this is insulting because there was no negotiation. There was no notice, no dialogue, and certainly no transparency. Courtney was never on any action lists, and why should it be? An Illinois Spotlight school, it's in the top 25, and Chicago Magazine selected it as the second most promising school in Chicago. It's accomplished this with a high percentage of low-income students. The only reason it's not level 1 is because there wasn't significant growth above already high scores. By this logic, CPS would downgrade Harvard for not improving every year, too. CPS calls this a relocation and Courtney a welcoming school, but these are euphemisms. By tripling its size and discarding an open enrollment policy that encourages parental involvement, CPS is destroying everything that makes Courtney Courtney. Courtney should be a model for other schools, not punished for its success. In a system with few choices and a mayor and CEO who tout school choice, CPS would reduce choice by eliminating a proven school and separate families by slamming the door on sibling preference. Courtney is the only action school that is changing its admission policy. Now, the only rational explanation for this absurd proposal is that Courtney has the misfortune to sit on a piece of real estate attractive to developers. Rational, but not ethical. Taking two well-utilized functioning schools and cramming them together until they're busting at the seams, selling public land, and inviting charter schools into the area, this audacity would impress even Margaret Thatcher. Charter schools take my property tax dollars but won't serve my daughter because children with special needs are not profitable. And now CPS is following suit as school closings disproportionately affect these children.
Ms. Cohen, excuse me, can
Here.
you please conclude?
Here, the myth of underutilization is based on the inability of CPS to perform basic arithmetic, ignoring the small class sizes mandated for special needs students. My daughter is safe and happy at Courtney. It's a small school, the staff know her name, and the students are kind to those with differences. A larger school, a more crowded school, and a changed environment would be harmful and overwhelming to her and all children with special needs. I imagine you're hearing from a tiny fraction of special needs parents that are furious because, frankly, parenting children with developmental differences takes a lot of time and energy. We already have to fight CPS to fulfill our children's IEPs. To us, this is further evidence of CPS not caring about our children. Society is judged on how
Ms.
it
Cohen?
treats its most vulnerable populations.
Ms. Cohen, thank you.
Okay.
Our next speaker, please, is speaker number 5, Nareda Sanchez, followed by speaker number 6, Joy Clendenning, followed by speaker number 30, Deborah Haas, and then speaker number 13, please, Elizabeth Herring. Last call for Nareda Sanchez. Next speaker, please, Joy Clendenning.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Joy Clendenning. I'm a member of Hyde Park Community Area Residents Empowering Schools. HP Cares members work to strengthen the pre-K through 12th grade continuum in our neighborhood public schools. We are a grassroots, volunteer organization of parents, students, and community members. I am a CPS parent and have been involved in my children's schools for 12 years now in many capacities, including currently serving on the Ray LSC. HP Cares is here today to oppose the proposed school action which would affect our neighborhood schools, Cantor, Ray, Bret Harte, and the school we believe has been illegally left out of the proposed action, Shoesmith. HP Cares opposes any school actions in CPS this year because we understand that our story is but one among many powerful stories across Chicago. Given the number of proposed actions, the failure to plan with the community, and the severely compacted time frame, let alone the number of schools, communities, families, and children who would be impacted by these proposed actions, you, Board of Education members, have an incredible responsibility, and we urge you to say no to school actions this year. In order to make your decision about school actions in good conscience, you would need to study each school action extensively, as we have done and documented in the case for Cantor, which we presented to the independent hearing officer and have submitted for you today. This document details why Cantor should remain open, including CPS's failure to comply with the law, CPS's use of a flawed utilization formula, CPS's failure to consider critical performance standards like student growth and school climate, and the lack of evidence that this action will improve school quality for our children.
Ms. Clendenning, excuse me.
Okay,
Can
thank you very
please
much.
conclude? Thank you.
We provide many examples of the quality school that Cantor already is. We have a proposal to add 6th grade to Cantor, making it into a 6th, 7th, and 8th grade middle school while returning Shoesmith to K through 5. This would relieve space issues at Shoesmith. Families would have the option to have all of their children attend our neighborhood's 3-block kindergarten through 12th grade academic campus, Shoesmith Elementary, Cantor Middle School, and Kenwood Academy High School. And I'm closing. Just why, and this is all over the city, why are you considering closing schools that work? And why would you especially consider closing a safe school in a safe neighborhood on the south side of Chicago? Thank you very much.
Deborah Haas, please.
My name is Deb Haas. I'm a member of HP Cares, and I'm an actively involved CPS parent. HP Cares is here today to oppose the proposed school action to close Cantor Middle School. We urge you to vote no on all school actions this year. Give yourselves time to sort out your priorities. We urge you to look deep into your conscience as you embark on the work between this and next month's board meeting. There are some very serious questions about proposed school actions throughout Chicago. If you doubt whether CPS met its legal mandate to inform all those affected by school actions, of which the Shoesmith community is but one example, vote no to school actions. If you doubt that CPS is using the appropriate utilization formula to ensure quality, as it packs classrooms up to 36 students in an already stressed system, vote no to school actions. If you doubt that CPS will save money when the costs for the school actions mount every day, vote no on school actions. If you doubt CPS's gigantic cost estimates to keep schools like Cantor open, schools that have improved student learning despite CPS's unmet promises and low funding for years, vote no on school actions. If you doubt that true individual plans exist for each closing, that these plans thoughtfully considered public input, that you, yes you, as the leaders and decision makers for our system, can guarantee student safety and well-being, academic or otherwise, vote no on school actions. If you doubt that it is fair, equitable, or just to give iPads to some students, while those in schools like Shoesmith, Kosmitsky, and Revis do without and don't get building improvements, vote no on school actions. If you doubt that a library is an amenity to be meted out for cooperation
Ms. Haas.
rather than a necessity,
Haas.
I'm concluding.
Thank you.
Vote no on school actions. If you doubt CPS can achieve higher quality education by closing schools that work, disrupting children's lives, destroying effective teaching and leadership teams, and abandoning relationships, vote no on school actions. If you have doubts, listen to them. Do the right thing. There is one clear response for the children of Chicago. Vote no on school actions this year. Take time to do this right.
Thank you, Ms. Haas. Our next speaker then will be speaker number 13, Elizabeth Herring.
My name is Beth Herring, and I am a member of HP Cares and a parent and LSC rep at Bret Harte Elementary. HP Cares is here today to oppose the proposed school action to close Cantor Middle School and to urge you to vote no on all school actions this year because CPS has failed in 3 key areas when recommending these closings: mandated notification, utilization, and performance. CPS did not meet its legal requirement for mandated notification of parents. Cantor serves as the middle school for students graduating from Shoesmith Elementary. However, Shoesmith parents were not notified by March 31st about the proposed school action, even though their school is clearly affected. This was required by law, and CPS failed to meet this mandate. If this happened to Shoesmith families, can you be sure it did not happen at any of the other schools affected by these actions? CPS used a flawed space utilization formula to determine these actions. This formula does not take into account special education requirements or the needs of students. While the classrooms may be able to hold 30 students, Cantor works to teach students in a way that is supported by research. Research indicates that low-income African American and urban students benefit most from smaller class sizes, all descriptors that apply to the majority of Cantor's population. We should be planning the space utilization of our buildings based on the class sizes our children need, not the maximum we can pack into a room. If this is the case at Cantor, can you be sure that no other school students will suffer due to this flawed formula? CPS did not use performance data to make logical school actions. The mayor and the CEO have gone on record as saying that the status quo is unacceptable. Ma'am, we agree. So then it makes no sense to close Cantor, which consistently surpasses the status quo in CPS. Cohort data for the last 3 years shows Cantor's meets and exceeds scores on the ISAT have grown in both reading and math.
Ms. Herring, excuse me, can you please conclude?
I will, I'm almost
Thank you.
done. And their composite score is higher than the CPS average. Finally, Cantor rates as highly effective in 3 categories on CCSR's 5 Essentials survey. This rating indicates Cantor is 10 times more likely to increase student learning than schools with lower ratings. If a successful school like Cantor is set to close, can you be certain that no other thriving schools are also wrongly being closed? You must vote no on closing Cantor or any other schools this year. More time is needed to get this process right.
Thank you, Ms. Herring. Our next speaker then will be speaker number 7, please, Jennifer Biggs, followed by the group for Chicago Collegiate. They have identified 2 designated speakers, and they are speaker number 8, Barbara Huggins, followed by speaker number 36, please, Angela Wilson. After that collegiate group, it will be speaker number 9, please, Benita Robinson.
Good morning. My name is Jenny Biggs, and I am a board member of Raise Your Hand. Our group has spent the past 4 months going on school walkthroughs, attending community hearings, visiting with parents, and examining the way CPS calculates space use for our schools. I personally have gone to 3 network meetings, 9 community meetings, and 4 hearings. I have also done 4 school walkthroughs. Today, we are handing in a report called 40 Terrible Decisions on School Actions. Please note, we are not supporting the other actions, but as a grassroots group, these 40 schools are the ones we have had contact with over the past 4 months. We imagine, based on our observations and the way this process was handled, there are many more mistakes. We are deeply troubled by the misuse of data that CPS has presented this year in order to sell this plan. From stating repeatedly that the city has lost 145,000 school-aged children, when in fact CPS has had an enrollment decline of 31,000 students, to the false 100,000 empty seats narrative, which is based on 120% capacity of 30 kids per room, to CPS telling aldermen at the city council that they believe welcoming schools have room for all students from one closing school, to completely omitting how space is used for children with disabilities and leaving this out of the entire formula. Todd Babbitts told the CEFTF that the formula does not take into account high special education rates on February 15th, 2013. Yet this has never been rectified, and CPS staff has been testifying before hearing officers using ideal enrollment numbers that don't reflect high special education populations.
Ms. Biggs, excuse me, can you please conclude?
Yes.
Thank you.
We ask you to please keep visiting schools. Receiving school visits are just as important as closing school visits to understand the space issue. And when you vote on these closures, keep in mind that 28 welcoming schools are on academic probation. Many schools will have to choose to have class size near 36 or lose all their programming space.
Thank you, Ms. Biggs.
CPS lost
Ms.
track of
Biggs.
11% of students last year from just 4 closings, and they are asking children to walk unsafe distances in the most gang-ridden areas.
Our next speaker, please, speaker number 8, Barbara Huggins.
Hi, my name is Barbara Huggins. I am a resident of the Roseland area and grandmother/guardian of 4 school-aged children, 5 to 10 years old, whose school is slated to close. Although that is not why I am here. I am not in total agreement with this, though. My children have high hopes and big dreams, so I am here hoping that you will give your vote today to approve the site for Chicago Collegiate Charter School. It is the inspiration of Beth Carrera Napleton. It will be a 4th through 12th grade tuition-free, open enrollment public school in the Roseland area. Their mission is to equip the students with academic skills, intellectual habits, and character traits to succeed in the colleges of their choice. also to strengthen their communities and change the world. I have had the privilege of meeting with Beth Carrera and on several occasions, and I am greatly impressed with her passion and commitment to this endeavor. It has incited in me a sense of hope for a neighborhood that seems hopeless and helpless. If you care about our children, please, please, give us your vote of confidence by approving the facility for Chicago Collegiate Charter School. Help us help our children. Thank you for hearing me.
Ms. Huggins, 1 second, please.
Is that the location it's going into, is the old St. Salamea School?
Pardon me?
Do you know if it's going into this old St. Salamea School?
Yes,
That's the location it's going
Yes.
into, right? Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Huggins.
Our next speaker, please, Angela Wilson.
Hello, my name is Angela Wilson, and I'm the parent of a third grader who will be graduating in June, and he'll be looking for a new home to continue his education. I'm also a resident of the Roseland area that Mrs. Carrie Austin was talking about earlier. I've been there for over 20 years, so I know of the conflict of trying to find a new school. I actually stay behind Metcalf. But my son will not be attending any of those schools. I'm here to support the Chicago Collegiate Charter School. And I strongly believe that they will embody and reinforce the values and the importance of getting a quality education that I try to teach my son at home. I try to teach him that the more you learn, the more you will earn in life. And just because we're African American and we're from Roseland, he does not have to know how to shoot a jump shot or throw a football, that there are such things as academic scholarships out there for him and that he can earn one of them with the proper education. I am also for their policy of reinforcing consequences and privileges. I try to tell my son that every action have a reaction and sometimes consequences. And I believe if they're taught this at a young age, when they get older, that they will not be so quick to break a law. As far as safety as the school goes, I don't have a problem with that. By it not being older kids there now, I believe that when it comes to violence and things like that at these grammar schools, it's due to the older kids and not the younger kids. So today, Chicago Collegiate Facility and Startup Funding is up for vote. I am here to encourage the board to vote yes and to approve the independent facility that they have put forth. Chicago Collegiates have been in our community for over a year now, and myself and others are eager to see them come to the area, and we want them to have the time that they need to get the building open this fall. So again, I'm here to ask the board members to vote yes on this, and I want to thank each and every board member for your time, your service, and your commitment to providing our children with quality education. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Our next speaker, please, speaker number 9, Bonita Robinson, followed by speaker number 11, Lucille Reese, and then speaker number 12, Stacy McAuliffe, followed by speaker number 14, James Morgan.
Good morning. My name is Bonita Robinson, 39-year retired teacher, and I ask you, what would Harold do today? I, like Barbara Bird Bennett, am a woman of color. However, unlike CEO Bennett, who began her recent association with CPS on the heels of mass school closings in 2 other major cities, I began a lifelong association with CPS upon entering kindergarten in 1956. I find her denial of the racist nature of Chicago's proposed school closing to be disingenuous and dangerous to the well-being of African American students who deserve excellence and equity from the education that CPS delivers. I find this current time of reform to be the most brutal, deceptive, and racist era of all. Even my experiences in racist Willis wagons and in 4-hour shifts in overcrowded schools in the 60s pale in comparison to experiences that African American students today must face, such as the diversion of resources and student populations from neighborhood schools to charter schools, the denial of instructional time due to excessive testing practices, the decimation of African American teachers, the widening of the achievement gap, and the life-threatening destabilization of communities under reform. To continue closing schools while cognizant of the havoc that such reforms have already wreaked on African American children is the embodiment of the most insidious type of racism that Carter G. Woodson warned about in The Miseducation of the Negro. In the words of Dr. Woodson, Ms. Bennett and this board must cease trying to, quote, justify the oppression of the race, end quote. Dr. Woodson expressed profound disappointment in African American professionals who allowed themselves to be used in the oppression of disenfranchised African Americans.
Ms. Robinson, excuse me.
I'm at the end.
Thank you.
I am outraged whenever I detect this deplorable ritual being practiced, especially by those who, like mercenaries, are passing through on their career ladders. It is time to end this modern-day Tuskegee experiment, and I end with a question by saying no school closings. Here's the question. Have you, as a board, discussed the University of Chicago's warning that school closings may be a major contributor to the widening of the achievement gap, black-white achievement gap that has been, I'm sorry, I can't read my own writing, that has been a constant negative trait under the past 20 years of CPS reform? Can I get an answer?
Our next speaker, please. Speaker number 11.
If the answer is
Lucille
yes,
Reese.
if the answer is yes, then that's negligence added to racism. I'm sorry, let me just say this. If the answer, were you going to say something, Mr. Vitale?
Yeah, I'm saying you've had your time to speak to us, ma'am. We have a long list of people.
Our next speaker, please. Speaker number 11, Lucille Reese.
Yes. Hi, my name is Lucy Reese, and I, along with the parents behind me, are here to speak about Charter Parents United, also known as CPU. We represent the 53,000 students and their families who are currently enrolled in public charter schools in Chicago. CPU has formed because we want to be sure that our voices are heard. We believe that we deserve the same rights as all parents with children in public schools. We have created a Charter Parents Bill of Rights that asks the following. 1, we want to ensure that families of Chicago have a choice for a safe, high-quality public school for our children. 2, that we have equality for every child in every school, including equal funding. 3, we would like a voice in the CPS decision-making process, especially as those decisions affect charter schools. And we would like the opportunity to be involved in improving our children's education. Right before this board meeting, we held a press conference downstairs with close to 200 of our parents. We introduced this Bill of Rights and also announced a rally that CPU will be holding on May 8th in support of our schools. We ask that the Chicago Board of Education please be sure that you listen to the voice of our parents and continue to support our families' choice in their public education. Thank you for your time.